Okay, number 67, being in the closet about mediumship. That is the subject of today's video. As always, please like this video, comment on it below, click the subscribe bell. All those things help other people to see these videos. I have to begin this video by reiterating that my upbringing was heavily influenced by Hopi Native American culture, by the Hopi Native American tribe. So I have always believed in an afterlife, but I've never believed in God, which puts me at odds with almost everybody because people of faith typically think you have to have both God and an afterlife, and atheists staunchly don't believe in either God or an afterlife. And here I am in the middle, definitely always having believed in an afterlife, but not in God, especially the way Westerners tend to define that. So by a slim, I'm mostly still in the closet about mediumship, and I'm sorry to say that. And it's by a slim margin, right? That margin's getting smaller and smaller because more and more people are finding out. But I have to say, the angst that I feel about it is exactly the same angst that I used to feel about coming out as gay, which I did a long time ago. I was worried at that time that I would lose friends. It was a very real threat that I would lose my job or the place where I was living. So I didn't come out of the closet as gay until I could mitigate losing my job or losing my home. So I planned my coming out. I didn't just do it. So I saved up enough money in case I had to move or in case I lost my job or both before I officially announced one Thanksgiving that I was gay. I do know at least two mediums who are heavily involved by marriage or by birth in families that have a religion. They're in a religious community that they love. They love the people in it, and mediumship would not be accepted. So they're very much in the closet. And I don't know if they'll ever be safe to come out about that, and that's their decision. But I'm not going to tell you, oh, just go ahead, come out, do it, you'll love it. But I will tell you, find a way to safely do it, because being out is wonderful. At least being out as a gay man is just so much easier, right? And I have to wonder how much of my bad experiences coming out as gay are influencing my feelings and my decision about still being in the closet as a medium. I did lose at least one job. My first really good job that I got after I got my MBA was this major institution. They were very eager to hire me. They were really excited. My first 2 days of doing training and filling out paperwork, they were all happy and exuberant. And then on the second day, I was looking at the final paperwork and I said, I need domestic partnership forms for my husband because we could only get legally domestically partnered back then, not legally married. And I needed to put him on my health insurance, as all other places I had worked had done at that point for years. And they were like, and you could tell there was a problem with them providing same-sex health benefits to their employees, partners. So, and then a few weeks later, I was fired out of the blue, and all they would tell me was that they said, and I quote, I'll never forget this, your values are just too different than ours. And you're on probation. Everyone was in like a 90-day probationary period. All new hires had a probationary period, and they said, you're in that time period, so we're letting you go. We don't have to explain any further than that. And I just want to point out that probationary hiring periods are the legal loophole around firing gays and lesbians from their jobs, because it's not always obvious in the interview process that someone might be in a same-sex relationship. And so, yeah, that's how you legally fire someone for that, even today. Also, I have to say, I do one of these videos every week. I've done that for quite some time now, and sometimes there have been vicious comments left. I delete them. I don't think they need to be out there. But comments along the lines of what kind of monster preys on the grieving, you know, that kind of thing. And frauds pretending to be mediums is a real thing, right? I mean, that is a thing. We all know that's true. And some people who are genuinely psychic are kind of wacky, and they tend to get the media attention, right? So there's just people's perceptions about what we are versus what we actually are in real life. I'll never forget the first time I took my mother to the Los Angeles Gay Pride, which is gigantic. There's thousands of people attend it, or at least they did back when I went. And I remember we were sitting there. We got there early so that there'd be a place for her to sit. There were hundreds of people that quickly grew to thousands of people. And at one point she turned to me, my mom turned to me and she said, where are all the gay people? I said, where do you think you are? And she was looking for people in outrageous get-ups, because that's all you saw on the news back then, was people really wildly dressed. And so she thought that's what everyone would look like. And I said, you're one of the few straight people for miles around, Mom. I mean, look around. Everybody here is lesbian or gay. So, and she didn't realize that the thousands of people in the crowds we were sitting in, that everyone would be gay or lesbian. So it's, you know, people's perceptions versus the reality of something. So I eased my way out of the closet. I slowly edged my way out of the closet about being gay by very openly talking, openly and frequently about the fact that one of my brothers is gay, and then I gauged people's responses to that. So it was surprising in nice ways and in sad ways, and it was informative in nice ways and in sad ways to see how people reacted. I was surprised. Pleasantly and unpleasantly surprised by some people's reactions. And so for the last couple of years, I've been talking very openly about mediumship and letting mediums practice on me. And all over again, I'm surprised pleasantly and I'm surprised unpleasantly about what people have to say about that and about mediumship. So there's that. I'm still collecting data. And I've never said, it's interesting, I've never ever said, hi, my name's Lawrence and I'm gay. Like, I've never done that. But some people have remembered it that way. I went to a Christian university and I never said, I'm Lawrence, I'm gay, but I would talk openly about my husband and I this or my husband and I that. And after the fact, like months later or a year later, someone would say, oh, that time you came out in class. I'm like, I never came out in class. But that's how it was viewed because I said, my husband and I went to the movies last night or whatever. It was viewed as coming out, and really I was just talking about my life. So I want to get to the point where I can just casually talk about my life in its entirety, about being a medium, for example, where that's just a thing. Whatever your opinion is of it, it's just a thing that people recognize about me. It is nice, I have to say, as of this year, my oldest friends who have known me since childhood now officially know that I'm a medium. It felt really weird not telling them. And so now we talk about it, and it's lovely. Just like being open about being gay, it's lovely talking to them. They already knew I was psychic because they've known me since I was a kid. They did not know about the mediumship thing, so they took it really well. But from my perspective, it's so nice just to have conversations where that's just a thing. That's just part of being Lawrence. So comment below. Tell me about how you came out or why you're worried about coming out as a medium, because I would be very interested in reading about that. Next week, I'm going to talk about forgiveness and or reconciling with people while they are still here. Because as I've said in other videos, everyone gets better after they pass. And sometimes reconciling while you're still here is a good idea, and sometimes I think it's a terrible idea. So I'm going to talk about that. Until then, thank you for watching up till now. See you next time, and have a great week.